Hello, everyone, and welcome to the RedFlex. I'm joined with Haz here today. We are doing the Manchester United versus Real Sociedad preview. Harris, fresh from watching the press conference, you want to give us the update on that before we get into the nitty-gritty?
Yeah, so injury-wise, interesting, because I think the reason why we waited to do the pre-match now is because we wanted to wait for Ole's press conference, because I was very intrigued as to what kind of starting lineup you might play in this one. Might get an indication of how seriously he's going to take this competition. But confirmed, Donny van de Beek, Paul Pogba, and Edison Cavani are all out. So what a shame. I mean, I was hoping this would be a bit of a run for Donny. We'd play 2 games in a week.
Yeah.
Cavani, obviously, maybe not so much so, because he might have been rested anyway. Obviously, we all know about Pogba, so that is a big shame. Obviously, Ahmad is in the squad, is in the kind of like Europa League squad, so hopefully he'll feature at some point. Ole mentioned it's going to be a tough game. He said it was probably, when the draw was made, it was probably the toughest game. Obviously, they've kind of slipped off a little bit. Sociedad, only 3-4 wins in the last 13 games, although they have won the last 2. It's at a neutral venue, so that'll probably play into our hands. He didn't give much away in terms of, who he wants to play or who he might play. So again, I think we're gonna have to wait until tomorrow for that. And yeah, he was just generally asked about, about his feelings on this competition. And he just said, yeah, it's one. Well, he just had to give the answer, didn't he? One that they have to win, even though how seriously they take it. I guess we'll only find out once the squad is or the team's announced at 5 o'clock tomorrow.
I think you should take it seriously, because the Premier League trophy is looking a little bit out of reach at the moment, depending on what we're doing. There's 2 ways of looking at it. Because we're in absolute free fall now in the league, does he just try and solidify the top 4, or does he try and put a trophy down on the table? So it's tough at the moment. I mean, had we been in a slightly better position in terms of league form, I probably would have said, let's take the competition a little bit more seriously. But I think at the moment, with the fact that the way that we're dropping points on such a regular basis, it's really difficult. We've got one of our ex-youngsters playing for Real Sociedad, Adnan Januzaj, remember him? Had a wonderful few months where we thought he was the next Zidane at one point under the Moyes tenureship. So some of you young fans might not remember that, but I remember that when we thought he was the next big thing.
Yeah, indeed, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing okay. Apparently, he's doing okay. At Sociedad, he's making a decent career for himself. But is it time for one of our new youngsters to step forward? Amad Diallo, you've already said that he's in the squad, but with the fact that you've told us about injuries, do you think it's something he needs to just throw him in there and see what he can do for 90 minutes, or is he just getting a cameo?
He's getting a cameo for me. I think there's lots of other players who are in desperate need of game time. You can think of Juan Mata for one. He's been on the sidelines for such a long time. I don't see. For me, he should have been used a bit more. Not sure why he wasn't. I mean, he was asked that. I think he was asked about Mata, and he said, "Oh, he's been away for a while." I'm not quite sure what he meant by that. Whether he was just on leave or whether there was something else going on, I don't know. But I'd like to see Mata involved at some point. Obviously, we've got Brandon Williams, Tuanzebe, Henderson may even play. There's a lot of players who probably need the minutes. Tellez, a few more minutes. So it will be interesting, to see the squad. But I'd really do hope over the 2 legs we do get to see Ahmad, even if it's for a little 20 minutes.
I think we've got another one of the youngsters as well, Shola. He's been added as well. Yeah, so he's in the squad as well. 17 years old, absolute tearing it up in the under-23s as well. I think he might get a run as well. So I don't know. I'm still confused as to, because we're doing so bad in the league, and I think he wants to keep everyone fresh. There is the potential of trying to make as many changes as possible for this game, depending on how he wants to write it off. So let's just quickly go through what you think the team should be, and then we'll kind of discuss it from there.
I'd go with Henderson. I don't see any reason why.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
So
I'm all right with that.
I'd probably put Brandon in on the right.
Mm-hmm.
And give him some minutes. I can't remember what he said about Bailly actually, whether he was still injured. I think he might be. I think he might still be injured.
Probably. Unfortunately for Bailly.
It looks like it's going to be the devastating combination of Lindelof and Maguire, which I'm not a fan of, but I think
You're not thinking it's going to be Tuanzebe?
I don't know. Tuanzebe is not filled with any confidence, to be honest. Last few times he's played, he's made a few little errors. I think the Everton one, I think that was just a free kick he gave away, but it was a needless free kick. Ended up costing us the goal 3-3.
Before you carry on, the thing is, what do you do in this game? Because our form is so bad, do we go for... That's what I'm thinking as well. Do we have to play a good team to get a win on the table, for that confidence? Because if he plays a makeshift squad and we get battered tomorrow, then the pressure is just going to be building and building and building. Not to say that Real Sociedad is an easy game, because we don't know what an easy game is anymore, because no matter what your form is, you'll probably get something at Man United. But it's a very fine balance at the moment of trying to get a win under your belt just for general confidence, or if we get battered tomorrow, it's going to be chaos.
That's the problem he's got, isn't it? I mean, I've always said, to be honest, we need to consolidate top four. I know you asked that question at the top of the show, but for me,
I agree. Like, had you asked me this in January, I would have said, we're solid, we're all right for top four. I still probably wouldn't have thought we're going for the title, but I thought, you know what, we're clear in the race for the top four. We could have been 5, 6, 7, 8 points ahead, but then now that literally we joint points with Leicester. We joint with Leicester, and we're only a couple of points ahead. Whoever's fourth, so now it's getting a bit spicy. But go on, what were you saying?
So I think we need to concentrate on making sure we remain in that top four. It would have been nice to create a bit of a gap between second and fifth, but as the weeks are going on and we're dropping points, that gap's getting smaller and smaller. Obviously, Everton have got games in hand. I know they're playing City tonight. Very unlikely that they're going to win. Until we get a max draw out of it, kind of considering they lost to Fulham a couple of days ago. So, yeah, there's a lot of ifs and buts, but for me, top four has to be priority. It has to be. For me, I said it when the draw came out. Nothing's changed the fact that, that we're not going for the title anymore. If we get knocked out by Real Sociedad, I've got no issues with that. I'd rather get knocked out now than go all the way to the semi-final, grueling way there, play an extra, 6 games, 8 games, and then get knocked out. Absolute waste of time, waste of space.
What if our fringe players get us there?
Yeah,
what if we manage to play all the fringe players and then get us, whatever? Let's say we get to semi-final, and then obviously we can start taking it seriously.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So we can't disregard it completely, but you never know. We might unearth some talent here, because obviously we're struggling here for firepower.
But the point I'm trying to make is, if we go deep in the Europa League and it's not to the detriment of the Premier League campaign, then there's absolutely no issues with that. For me, that's what it's all about. We can't be playing Bruno the full 90 minutes, and Rashford, who's played a lot of games, and Maguire just obviously plays every game regardless. Obviously he's got options in midfield. You can still mix up between Scott McTominay, Fred, Matic. Any combination of that will probably play. Even though, again, I'm also against playing 2 holding midfielders. Totally against that. But I think at the minute, because of the injuries, I think that's probably what's going to happen. But yeah, let's see. It's the first leg. It's a neutral venue. It favours us. There's no advantage to them. So I wouldn't be too disappointed if it was a draw.
Okay, so I think you got as far as the back four. So you said the midfield is probably going to be two of the three. The attacking positions, which is most important. Cavani's out. Who are you going for? You trying to get Martial back into form, or are you saving him for weekend, or especially if Cavani's injured?
Greenwood and Rashford definitely play, because I just don't think we have any other choice. I'd like to see Mata, to be honest, on the right. Maybe Greenwood down the middle or Rashford down the middle. I think it's a good opportunity for them to play in that position. They probably won't get many opportunities this season, so let's see what they can do.
James?
Apart from that, I don't. James. Yeah, if you wanted to play him on the left, that is the only position, isn't it? You can't. He's not one of them you can really interchange. To be fair, but I think he's going to go with. I don't know why. I think Macho was mentioned. I just got a sneaky feeling he's going to play, for some reason. So think it might be Rashford, Greenwood, and Mata.
Yeah, I think he probably has certain players earmarked for the Europa League campaign who are going to play every single week in the Europa League. Probably Mata, his style of play, maybe in the Premier League, obviously he can't really do the pressing or the high intensity. And obviously European style of play is something different. Maybe Mata has been protected, rested, whatever you want to call it, for this specifically. And I'm all right with that. Mata playing. I do want to see Ahmad. I'm happy for him to even start this game and then obviously bring him off if needed. But then again, I don't know how it depends on obviously your mentality and your confidence, whether you want to come on for 30 minutes or you want to give a 60-minute spell and then say, all right, yeah, I gave it my best sort of thing. So I want to see Ahmad for sure. Hopefully we can get something out of this game. I agree with you. The draw is probably a very favorable option. And then just see what, depending on what the league position is, if we're doing okay or we've got a game which is in a few days' time, then maybe we can go all out in the second leg. But that works for me. That's pretty much what I think of it for now in terms of what we should go for. I'd like to see an experimental squad, let's say, because I'm very wary of this league campaign. And I think you're on the same page here.
Yeah, I think the injuries have kind of forced his hand. To be fair, Pogba,
upset for Donny. Yeah,
Donny. That's really Bailly as well. That kind of forced his hand into we can't afford to delve into the youth players too much. In the day we need to put in a performance, and we've got no Pogba already. If you don't play Bruno, then where's that creativity coming from? So I think Bruno's got to play again, unfortunately, which I would have liked to have thought he wouldn't have played. Maybe Donny could have played in that position, but it is what it is, isn't it? And then I'm more interested in the mentality of the players. I mean, because you can tell a lot. I know, the Fergie when we got into the Europa League, you tell the players were just not interested in that competition. I think we got beat by Bilbao, didn't we? You could just tell they weren't.
No, we got outplayed by Bilbao, unfortunately.
Yeah. So but you could tell the players weren't that bothered. It just seemed as though they were just like, yeah, whatever. We're out of it.
That scares me because every game we've played where we start the game and we don't look bothered, it is the most boring, horrible game of football ever. And I think you've touched on a very good point there. We can play the same formation with the same players, but the mentality they go into the game with, that affects their performance. So yeah, I've seen the team that's won, the previous game going into a game where it's like, yeah, it's not that big of a game. And then we've had the horrible results like we've had. So I'm worried about that. Are you worried at any point of us getting beat badly by this team? Or do you think it's just going to be a draw? Are you confident of a victory?
Yeah, I mean, if as I said, the stats are there. I think they've only won 3 or 4 games in the last 13. I know they've won the last 2, but before that, I think they'd only won 1 or 2 games in the previous 11. So this team, it's a team not in form. Let's put it that way.
So neither are we.
Neither are we. But we're not losing. I know we've got a few draws in there. Last 5. I think we've only lost 1. The rest another win, 3 draws, whatever. So I just think it'd be interesting for not only because of the mentality, the attitude you mentioned, but also the fringe players. I mean, are they going to be up for it? Are they going to be fighting for that Premier League spot? Because there's going to be at least 2 or 3 that are the fringe players. There's questions about De Gea and his position. I think Gary Neville mentioned it the other day. How he thinks the back 3 of Maguire, Lindelof, and De Gea are not going to win your Premier League. So if that's the case, let's try somebody else. Obviously, Bailly's injured. Tuanzebe can go in. Henderson can go in. If we do end up playing a few games in the competition, let's see if Henderson's got what it takes. Is he worthy of kind of like taking over that role of David De Gea? So yeah, there's a lot of interesting little things going on as well in terms of players and their selections and what that might mean. But I'm confident we won't get beat. 2 reasons: number one, of their form, and also the fact that we're not actually playing on their ground. I think that'll make it into a bit more of a neutral game where there's they won't have that kind of advantage, even though there's no fans. They just won't have those kind of home comfort advantages. They're traveling to an away game, same as us. So let's get a draw. Let's take them back to Old Trafford and let's take it from there with an away goal.
That leads me on to the question of what do you think the result will be? I know it's really difficult to call because there's so many factors at play, who's going to play, etc. But best you can, what you reckon?
1-1.
1-1.
Away goal in the back.
Yeah, I think that even though we're not going to have our first choice team out, I do think the changes that we're probably going to make in terms of wing backs, a little bit, maybe the odd one in the forward line, I think we're just going to have too much quality. I think Martial will probably enjoy, if I assume Martial's going to play because he's the only fit striker. And obviously the European style of play, it's not as physical, it's not as pressing. That's why he's suffered with a lot this season, where he's been marked out of the game or he's been crowded out of the game. I think he's going to have a lot more space. You know, he's one of our few players that can run and take a man on. So I think because of that, and obviously Rashford and Greenwood being the same, if those three play, regardless of who is playing at the end, you know, the other part of the team, I think that their individual brilliance will probably get us a 1-0 victory.
I mean, they're out of form, isn't it? They're out of form. We need 2 out of the 3 to be. I mean, personally, I don't think Greenwood is out of form, but Rashford, Martial, I think certainly are. So, you know, to get at least one of them back in form would be good. You know, can take that into the league campaign.
So is that tomorrow? It's that silly time, isn't it? Is it like 5:55 or something?
5:55 UK.
5:55 UK time. I'm going to be at work, but I'll find a way to watch it. And what we will be here after the game, regardless, to bring you the match result, which is hopefully going to be a Manchester United victory. That's it for now. We will be back tomorrow. So make sure, if you haven't already, please like the stream before you go. If you haven't as well, please subscribe. We're also on Twitter and Instagram for extra content. I usually tweet during the game, give my sort of live reactions as it happens. And we're also on Twitch and Periscope, which is part of Twitter now. So you can catch us everywhere. There's no reason not to. So please support us on all the platforms. And we'll see you again tomorrow with the match reaction. See you then.